Okay, folks, so for today I have an ugly radio to try and repair. It's an AM FM Orion germanium technology, probably from the late 60s, early 70s. And it's ugly not just because it's rather plain design and it's beaten and scratched up, dents in the speaker grill. I thought it was interesting because it had two tuning capacitors, separate tuning capacitors, but we'll get inside, and this is going to be a very speculative repair. I don't know if this one can be brought back because somebody really did a number on its internals. Okay, so one of the few things decent about this is the case, although it is dented in here, but the case isn't coming apart. It's a little dirty, and the reason I'm continuing on is there's a schematic here in the cover that maybe help with troubleshooting. But looking at the top, first problem, the AM bar antenna is gone and the wires are poking out there. Power wires on the power switch, which I believe are those blue leads, one of those needs to be reattached. And even more troublesome, it looks like somebody's adjusted the cores of the transformers here. The orange, the yellow, the red, they all have like paint missing, like somebody's been in there twisting. Also, one of these tuning capacitors is loose. Missing the battery holder, but that's not such a big deal. Let me get the board lifted out of here. Okay, so I'm missing the screws on one tuning capacitor. I'll probably borrow one off the other one for now, just to get it re-secured. And the speaker lead, there's one wire here that needs to be reattached, and that's a pretty easy one. The output transformer's here, and we've got the one terminal, nothing connected to it, so I'll get started with that. Then we'll get some power on it and see if there's anything happening at all. Maybe we can get the FM to do something tonight. Okay, so I got the power lead soldered back, the speaker lead reconnected, and this battery pack hooked up to it now. It's a 6-volt radio, and on FM all I get is a little click when I try to select it, and virtually every capacitor that I've checked is bad, and this one is across in the discriminator circuit in the secondary of the transformer. It's a 10 microfarad and it's wide open. So I'm going to change that out, see if anything happens. Back on the Orion radio tonight, I found another oscillator antenna coil in one of those AM radio kits from China. And I thought I would go ahead and hook it up here. The coil, I still had no audio. Get the AM, so I went ahead and hooked up my signal generator test, went ahead and hooked up my signal tracer test amp in the test amp mode here, and tapped it into the wiper on the volume control, and now I have AM audio and FM as well. The next thing was to get in here and figure out why the audio is bad. And I found, so looking at the schematic for this radio, the audio section here is a 3-stage audio with first transistor coming off of the wiper of the volume control, feeding into the driver, which then feeds into a input transformer into a push-pull output stage. And I find that some audio gets through when I bridge the first capacitor here, the 5 microfarad, into the coupling cap, into the base of the first audio transistor, which is TR6. And I think I'm also going to look at the next coupling cap after TR6, another 5 microfarad, and I got a couple 4.7s I'll put in to replace those, and then we'll see how the audio is doing. So the first capacitor into the base of TR6, I'll bridge it here. Not very loud, but there it is. It's this one right here, I believe. Here's our first coupling capacitor off the volume control, 96 picofarads. Yeah, it would tend to cause trouble.
Insane. There is no way in hell I would save an animal over a human being. That is sick.
Even if it's a stranger.
Okay, so we got that first coupling capacitor replaced here, and then I believe the other one is after the first stage, TR6, and I believe the other one is this 5 microfarad here. So probably just go ahead and change him out too, just to be sure. Another thing that doesn't help is it looks like a lot of the capacitors in this radio, it's a 6-volt supply and they're using 6-volt caps, so they were probably pretty penny pinching. Okay, we got the second stage coupling capacitor out, and again it's reading way off from 4.7 microfarad. So probably all the electrolytics in this radio should be shotgunned. I just don't know if I'm going to do it. Alright, so the volume control's a little scratchy. Can't really get in there to clean it without desoldering it, removing it, and then bending these pins back. But I'm going to try a little deoxit on the center here and see if it can creep in there or not. Not really. Let's see. Well, I think about that. It's kind of a... It's an AM oscillator adjustment.
Going through. That's an immense responsibility, though. Nonsense and political.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether to go any further with this or not. There's a lot of potential time that could be spent pulling this potentiometer, taking it apart, and we'll look and see if I can replace any more of these capacitors, if any of these would be worth doing to improve the sound quality at least. But yeah, I don't even have the right alignment tool for the tuning cap. It's just to have a non-metallic, and those adjustments are so hard to turn at this point. I guess they're just kind of frozen due to time. They're very hard to turn, so. And then I think somebody's been in here adjusting these IF cans. So I got this noisy pot out of the radio, went ahead and desoldered it, and I'm going to lift up these tabs and see if I can get in there and clean it. Okay. Alright, well, it looks like it's lifted up. Yeah, it's lifted up here. Maybe. Almost got it. Okay. I see. Looks like the power switch here on the back is keeping it from coming all the way open. So I'm probably just gonna put a few drops of deoxit in there. Actually, I've got some spray cleaner. I'll go ahead and spray this out and then put a couple drops of deoxit in there. Maybe the spray will dislodge some of the material, but if I pry it too much, I'll damage it. Alright, so I sprayed it out with some control cleaner, and I can kind of see the wiper. I'll try to put a drop of deoxit on the wiper. Get a little on the now, just to squeeze it all back together again, and So I need to get these guys bent back. Okay. All right, well, seems like it's working okay. Switch is still good, so solder it back into here, and then we'll see what's going on, how it works after that. So on this side, the potentiometer connections are, there's these two green wires that need to go back. I guess because it doesn't look like this one or this one have traces. So just want to get the, don't want the wires insulation to melt and mess up the solder. If I can help it anyway from happening. Let's see. Don't know if I'm going to be able to fill this one in. So yeah, the solder's dropping to the other side, but it's got a pretty good connection there. And then on the other side, yeah, there's all that solder I ran through from the top. These connect to the power switch, these blue leads. Let's try to get them back on. Maybe I'll go through the hole in the center on that one. Yeah. This copper's in pretty bad shape. It's pretty tarnished with age. Yeah, that's what I wanted. No cutting out now on the volume. Nice, smooth operation. All right.
City manager's gig had become controversial after a new contract that paid him about $470,000.
All right, so
Riverside's mayor.
this is the radio playing. I can't get it to track the AM dial too well, perfectly, and have good sensitivity. Now that may be because this this coil here, the values, the turns of wire are not the same as they were. But basically, we've got the antenna coil replaced. The battery pack, there was not a cell holder there. And replaced quite a few capacitors. There's still at least 3 more that I left behind that probably should be done someday, but that's about it for now. I've got this thing working a lot better than I thought it would, but it still could be better if I can figure out how to get in there based on the color code of the cans, maybe do IF alignment on the AM side at least, and maybe even the FM, get it working even better. But this has been the Ugly Radio Orion repair. And if you've made it this far, that's really something. You're patient. Take care, and thanks for watching.